Hey there, mindful souls. Welcome to the Mindful Living podcast, where we dive deep into the art of living with purpose, balance, and a whole lot of authenticity. I'm your host, Avik, and today we are unpacking a game changing formula for emotional regulation that could just revolutionize the way you navigate life and the business. So, joining us is the incredible Jayna Swan. So, welcome to the show, Jayna.
Hello, hello. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Lovely, lovely to meet you, Jayna. So, Jayna, before we start our conversation, I'd quickly love to introduce you to all of our listeners. Dear listeners, Jayna is a speaker, creator, and coach with a powerful story of resilience, transformation, and empowerment. So she is the founder of her embodiment, and host of a millennial's guide to healthy emotional regulation in life and the business. So her signature formula is the 5 M's, which blends movement, meditation, mindfulness, and manifestation. Yes. So more if I have to say, we are diving into a juicy topic of the reality, the sexual health. So, yes, so she's here to show us how to channel our emotions, not block them, and turn the life's toughest moments into stepping stones for the growth. So, grab your headphones, your favorite beverage, tea, coffee, or anything, and let's get mindful with Jayna Swan. Welcome to the show.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here, Avik, and I cannot wait for this conversation. I know we're in a place in this world that everybody needs this right now. So, as soon as you want to dive in, I'm ready for it.
Lovely, lovely. That's really great. I'm so happy. So Jayna, to start with, I'll start with the basics. Uh, so what inspired you to create the 5 M's formula? Like, how has it changed your life personally and professionally? If you can share.
Absolutely. It goes back to September of 2012. So we're talking about 11, 12 years ago now. I started developing cysts on my vulva, and the doctors and I couldn't really figure out what was causing these. And long story short, across 10 years, I went through 7 different surgeries on my vulva to remove these reoccurring cysts. And it wasn't until just after my last surgery that I discovered the power of releasing stuck emotions. I was getting certified to help my own clients release their baggage and limiting beliefs, and in turn, released my own. And in that process, I have now been 4 years without having any reoccurring cyst. And so the 5 M's was really developed over the last decade with me trying to figure out, how do I regulate my own emotions? And then it came down to these 5 things that you mentioned earlier that we can dive into. These, if you do them every day, while life happens, you can control it a little bit more, because inner peace doesn't matter what happens outside of you. And so that's really where this all stemmed from.
That's really awesome. Yeah. And then why do you think that so many of us struggle with uh emotional regulation in today's fast-paced world?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I see across the board is that people, they
Mm.
struggle to sit in the emotions as it happens.
Yeah.
As you know, life happens. We get angry about something or sad, and it's like, well, I can't yell at this client or my child right now. So we just bottle it up, push it down, and then never make time to actually move through those emotions. So this is, in sense, I just encourage people to sit in it, to actually schedule time to sit and journal, meditate, really think and feel these things. Because once you feel it, you can heal it.
Exactly, exactly. Uh, so movement and meditation, it really sounds great, right? But what about skeptics who feel like they don't have time for this
Yeah.
practice?
To those people, it's really funny because you actually are making time for it, but
Yeah,
it's kind of like when you don't eat healthy or work out, you're gonna make time for sickness eventually. So what it turns into emotionally is just burnout. So a lot of people right now, you can't make decisions quickly. You're struggling to see the clarity, whether it's your business or your family life. So I find that when we make 5 minutes of time to process the emotion, we save 50 minutes of time in the future because you can make faster decisions, you can feel better about the things you're doing, and life just, it flows.
So, like, I mean, more like when I mentioned more. So, how does more in your framework, like sexual health, tie into the emotional regulation? And um, also, if you can share, like, why it is often overlooked.
Mhm. Yeah, it's I had to include sexual health. Now,
Huh.
I in my surgery process, it was my third surgery. I was in the hospital for 8 days. I had an entire gland removed from the left side of my vulva, and I, in that moment, really sat there and was like, Jayna, you have to make a decision right now. Either I'm never gonna have intimacy physically ever again in my life,
Hmm.
or I'm going to essentially get a PhD in pleasure. I'm going to figure out how I go from pain to pleasure. And that was the choice I made. Once over the years, I learned that the neuropathway for pain in the brain is the same neuropathway as pleasure. They overlap. So you can actually override pain with pleasure. So as I started to go through this, and have been with a partner for 10 years now who has allowed me the safety to be able to explore this, I realized that through this journey of gathering this, what I call my pleasure PhD, through that journey, it allowed me to realize that shame and guilt for me personally were at the basis of all the pain I was experiencing. And so as I brought that up with my clients more and more, I realized a lot of people are holding on to shame and guilt around sex due to society, their parents, family, just projections from others. And so I actually find that the faster I can get to the sexual conversation with a client and really just clean up their emotions around that, the more that they start to attract business clients they always wanted. They start to get that relationship they always wanted. They have a better connection with their children because they are actually allowing themselves to connect with themselves on a deeper level.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Lovely. And then also, like, some critics argue that mindfulness and manifestations aren't enough to handle the serious challenges. So, how would you respond to that?
Yeah, and I would agree that they're not enough, that they actually take the combination of all five, right? So mindfulness on its own, to me, the term mindful is to be mindful. So to be constantly seeking knowledge and learning and growing. That alone isn't going to change your life, especially when it comes to disease. Neither is manifestation alone. It's when you pair it with movement, when you pair it with like manifestation, mindfulness, movement, when you pair all five of those along with the sexual health, that's when you see change. Because emotion is just energy in motion. And say I experience sadness, I'm experiencing the energy of sadness. But if I don't sit in it and I push it down and I try and wait for later, that energy stays around. And so it sticks to our cells in our body. And so it's my belief that because I had sexual shame and sexual guilt, it was showing up energetically in the sexual organs.
Yeah.
So for me, I do believe that my going through the process of becoming aware of what was
Yeah.
happening and then forgiving all of those that were involved and then moving through that and then meditating on it, learning more about it through mindfulness and then speaking my truth. It took the manifestation part of me actually saying out loud, I can heal myself from the inside out, for me to believe it. And then that paired with my sexual health journey, all five of those together, that's what gets it. So I would agree with the skeptics that mindfulness and manifestation alone won't give you results.
Mhm. Understood. Thanks for sharing this. And also, like, uh, listeners often worry about getting stuck in the toxic positivity.
Mm.
So, how does your approach embrace the full spectrum of emotions, including the tough ones?
Yeah, I agree with that because toxic positivity is not at all what I mean, because it's not about always being happy. We don't just want to be on one end of the spectrum, right? We want to experience the whole thing. If we think about if you only lived a life of happiness and joy or peace, you would essentially be flatlined, which is not living, right? So we want the peaks and the valleys. So in the concepts that I teach and in my formula, I want you to embrace all of the emotions. We're here to accept that when we have grieving and grief through loss, that allows us to be able to set the stage for the joy that we experience with those who are still living. When we experience those low, confusing, harsh moments in business where we feel like everything is crumbling around us, it allows us to actually really be present on stage accepting an award or getting like, you know what I mean? So that's truly what I want, is for people to be present in the lows so that they can also be present in the highs. Otherwise, if you're so used to disassociating and just being numb during those lows, the same exact thing's going to happen in the highs. Is you're not actually going to feel it. You're going to be a month later and you're gonna be like, oh, I didn't experience that the way I wish I could have. Because being present is a skill that we use on both ends of the spectrum. So that's all I am encouraging people to do, is just learn to go moment by moment. Yes, we plan our futures, and yes, we reflect on our past, but you can't drive a car if you're always looking in the rearview mirror. So be present, be in the vehicle with yourself.
That's so lovely. And also, like, if a listener wanted to start integrating the 5 M's today, then what's the one small practical step they can take right away?
100% is the practical step is a literal step. Go outside and go for a walk. That's it. The first one, movement. It's the first one for a reason. It's so much easier to move your way into feeling peace than it is to sit and meditate your way into feeling peace.
Yeah.
Because if you're worried about all these things, and you have what they call the monkey mind happening, where you just, I can't silence my voice. That's why I don't encourage meditation first. It's so much easier to say, just go for a walk. Leave the cell phone at home and go for a walk around the neighborhood. Put on a podcast while you go walk. Educate yourself. That's movement and mindfulness at the same time. And I think that listening to a book or a podcast while you walk is a great way to really get that going. But regardless, taking the first step in a physical sense is the way that we take the first step in a metaphorical sense.
That's so awesome, I would say. And thank you so much. It's an incredible conversation, Jayna. I'd say, I mean, a lot of things we discussed in a very short span of time. And thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, vulnerability, and the practical tools for the emotional mastery. And
Absolutely.
for the listeners, I'd love to mention, like, if you are feeling that inspired to embrace the 5 M's and unlock your own emotional superpowers, then be sure to check out Jayna's her HER embodiment app and her podcast, A Millennial's Guide to Healthy Emotional Regulation in Life and the Business. So, and as always, if you love this episode, share it with someone who needs a little mindful magic in their life. And do not forget to hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. It helps us keep bringing you these amazing conversations. So, until next time, stay mindful, stay curious, and keep living your best and most authentic life. So, this is your host, Avik, signing off. Catch you next time. Thank you so much.